The stars above Earth were quiet, too quiet that no radio signals, no satellites moving, no defense lasers flashing in orbit. Just a dead blue planet floating in space, surrounded by broken ships and burnt stations. The Galactic Council watched it. From their command ship, orbiting far above the wreckage, High Commander Travax crossed his arms. "It's over," he said. "Earth has fallen." Others nodded. One even laughed. "This was easier than we thought. For a planet full of wild humans, they died fast." But far below, deep under the ashes of New Geneva, the truth was waking up. Under the ground, inside a steel bunker older than the war itself, something buzzed to life. Lights flickered. Screens turned on, and a cold female voice spoke. "Stasis. Protocol broken. Failsafe Miraidane activated." Her body lay in a frozen chamber, wrapped in metal and glass. For 70 years she had slept, kept alive by machines, kept silent by a promise Earth had made. They had said, "If Earth burns, wake her." The glass opened. A cloud of frost spilled out. Miraidane opened her eyes. She didn't speak. She didn't need to. Outside, alien fleets scanned the planet one last time. Nothing moved. Cities were dust. Oceans had boiled. Forests had turned to ash. Commander Travax smiled. "Begin withdrawal. The threat is gone." But then a beep echoed on the control panel. One of the alien officers leaned forward. "Commander, something's wrong." "What is it?" "A signal. Faint. Old frequency. It's human." Everyone froze. "Play it." The signal was low and broken, but one word came clear through the static. "Awaken." Travax's smile faded. Inside the bunker, Mira moved slowly. She looked older than her frozen age, her face worn, her eyes empty, but there was something dangerous about her silence. Something unbreakable. Machines around her showed reports. Earth, 93% destroyed. Population, unknown. Council status, enemy presence detected. Command, awaiting your orders. She stared at the screen and spoke her first words in decades. "Begin Ghost Protocol." Miles away, hidden inside the asteroid belt, old ships blinked to life. These were not normal warships. They had no crew, no flags, no signals, just one order: strike only when the enemy is blind. They were Earth's last secret weapon, the Ghost Fire. Fleet. Built in silence, powered by black energy, invisible to alien scans. And now one by one, they vanished into space. On the Council ship, alarms rang. Unidentified vessels detected near Sector 12. "Impossible," Travax shouted. "We control this space." But screens showed ghost signals moving through their territory. Then explosions. One Council battleship vanished in a white flash. Then another, and another. No warning. No trace, no attackers. Travax screamed, "What is this?" An officer whispered, "They're hunting us from the shadows." Back in the bunker, Mira walked through the silent halls. She passed old photos of earth-green trees, oceans, cities, all gone now. But she didn't cry. She had no tears left. Instead, she opened a panel. In the wall, inside was a thin metal suit, black and silent. No weapons. Just data ports, neural links, and one single button on the chest. She pressed it. A voice echoed in her ear. "Miraidane, confirming leadership of Human Defense Network. You are now Earth's last commander." She nodded. "Connect me to all surviving outposts across the planet, hidden in ruined shelters and old bunkers." People heard the voice. "Miraidane lives. Ghost Protocol is active. If you can fight, report in." Old soldiers stood up. Engineers uncovered tools. Survivors in the dust looked at the sky, and for the first time in years, they had hope. Travax didn't understand. "This is just one human. We killed their armies." But Mira was not an army. She was Earth's memory, every war. Every strategy, every defeat, every comeback. She remembered Earth's ancient pain and its greatest lessons. She was the weapon the aliens didn't plan for. Inside the council war room, alien leaders argued. This isn't just resistance, this is planned. But we burned their cities. Someone planned for that. Someone smarter than us. And then another signal came. It wasn't a call. It wasn't a message. It was a feed. All screens showed a video. Human cities burning. People screaming. Children hiding. And then Mira. She stood alone in front of a destroyed city. Her voice was calm. You thought Earth would beg. You thought we would run. But we were born from fire. Now you'll learn what we learned in every war. Never corner a human. The video ended. Silence filled the war room. Then panic. Across the galaxy, alien civilians saw the same feed. Some cheered, some cried, but most feared. Because they remembered old stories. Stories their grandfathers told them about Earth. They're not like us. They don't stop. They never forget. Now those stories were real. In space, the Ghostfire fleet reached the moons of the alien homeworld. Still cloaked, still silent, still deadly. Mira sat in the command chair deep underground. Screens around her showed moving ships, fleeing enemies. Civilian panic. But she wasn't smiling. She whispered, more to herself than the machines. This isn't about revenge. This is about warning. She typed one command. Initiate Operation Echo. Moments later, every alien news system was hijacked. Every screen, every voice channel, every broadcast played the same clip. A quiet city street, a child crying in. Rubble, a drone flying above. And then a single human voice saying, you started this, now hear us scream. Then, static. Alien soldiers began to refuse orders. Civilians flooded ports, trying to escape, and governments that once laughed at Earth now started asking, can we make peace? But it was too late. One council leader sent a message directly to Mira. We admit defeat. What are your terms? Mira didn't respond. Instead, she opened another panel on her desk. Inside was a black cube. When opened, it would call every hidden human weapon across the galaxy to launch. Her hand hovered over it. And she whispered, not yet. Far above, Commander Travax watched another of his ships explode. He couldn't breathe. This was supposed to be over, he said. But at WSN single quotes it had just begun. Back on Earth, silence ended. The ground shook. The sky lit up with the trail of silent missiles. And in every corner of the galaxy, those who once saw humans as weak, now saw something else. Wrath. Because Earth didn't die. It waited. And now it would teach. Space above Earth was still full of smoke. Alien battleships hung in orbit like metal sharks. Their black hulls blocked out sunlight. Cities below stayed dark. Ruins of Earth's space stations floated between them, twisted and cold. Alien soldiers celebrated inside their ships. They danced, they drank. Some even took photos near Earth's remains. Commander Travax stood on his command deck, watching the blue planet spin. We own their skies, he said. But deep in the shadows of space, Earth's answer had already launched. 3 million kilometers away, hidden in the asteroid belt, Earth's revenge moved quietly. Dozens of black spiked ships slid past space rocks and cosmic dust. These ships had no heat, no radio signal, no engine noise. They were cloaked. Each one was part of the Ghostfire fleet. They had no crew. No names. Just one instruction in their coded minds. Strike, then vanish. Inside one of the Ghostfire ships, the AI activated. Coordinates locked. Target, Zarnok Prime, the Star Forge. That target wasn't near Earth. It was near the alien homeworld. The forge where enemy ships were built. A place they believed was safe. Back on Earth, Mira Dane stood in her underground war bunker, eyes locked on the hologram in front of her. Alien. Fleets were spread across the solar system, some near Jupiter, some near Mars. Some above Earth. But none of them saw what was coming. "Send the first wave," Mira said. A soldier beside her hesitated. "Do we warn them first?" She shook her head. "They took our skies without a warning. Let's take their stars, without mercy." On the bridge of the alien Starforge orbiting Zarnuk Prime, everything seemed normal. Engineers worked. Lights blinked. Weapons rested. Suddenly, alarms screamed. Something invisible had entered orbit. Turrets turned to fire, but nothing was there. Then light. A silent explosion. The first ship vanished. Then a second. Then the Starforge itself shook, its core breached. One by one, the lights on the surface blinked out. A black bloom of smoke spread in space. Alien engineers screamed into comms. "We're under attack. Invisible enemy." Invisible. And then silence. Back on Earth, Mira smiled, but not from joy. From confirmation. The impossible had worked. She turned to her team. "Status?" A tech answered. 2 forges destroyed. 1 crippled. 24 ships lost. 0 detected. Mira nodded. "Send the next wave." In the galaxy's heart, alien senators met in panic. How did they find the forge? They can't even fly anymore. Someone whispered, "They never stopped flying. They just stopped showing us." High Commander Travax slammed his fist. On a control screen. "They're hitting our stars now? Our shipyards?" He stared at Earth again, but this time, not with pride. With fear. "They're breaking the chain. They're cutting off our future." He sent a command. "Prepare the fleet." All forces returned to Zarnuk Prime. But the Ghostfire fleet had already predicted that move. Halfway between Earth and Zarnuk, more human ships waited, still hidden. Behind shattered moons and ancient debris fields, they were shaped like daggers, made of old Terran tech mixed with dark energy. The aliens called them Death Whispers, because no one ever heard them coming. As Travax's fleet moved to protect the forges, they passed near a gas giant called Vecran VTH-8. 'Tis when the ambush happened. From within the rings of the planet, Ghostfire ships flew in. No light. No warning. Just beams of dark energy cutting straight through hulls. Alien ships spun. Some exploded. Others turned too late. Travax screamed orders, but his own ship's engines failed. Evasive. His command cut off as a spike of black. Fire smashed through the side of his battleship. Earth had taken its skies back, but now it was taking the stars too. Meanwhile on Earth, Mira looked at the reports. Enemy losses, 61 ships. Human losses, none. Location revealed, 0%. Current enemy threat level, scattered. Her team stared in silence. They had never seen numbers like this. This isn't just survival, one said. This is domination. Mira didn't respond. Her eyes were on a single red dot blinking on the galaxy map, the alien capital. World, Draxus IV. She pointed at it. "That's where we end this." But something strange happened first. On a distant moon, a small alien scout ship drifted through space. It found something strange, an old Earth satellite still alive. Curious. They pulled it in. Inside it was just one file, a video. They opened it. It was Mira standing over ruins. Her voice was soft, but deadly. "You took our skies, you burned our cities, you left nothing. So we built in the dark, and now we rise not to reclaim Earth, but to show you what fear feels like." The scout ship sent the file home. By the time the capital saw it, the first of their outer colonies was already burning. Back at Zarnuk Prime, alien survivors floated in escape pods. Drifting through the black, they spoke in whispers. They didn't even come with fleets. No warning, no mercy. One of them cried. They became the silence. Inside her bunker, Mira turned away from the screens. She walked to a wall filled with names. Names of the lost. She placed her hand on one. It read, Elian Dane, age 12, killed in Skyfall attack. Her daughter. She didn't cry. She couldn't. There were no tears left. Only war. That night in thousands of places across the galaxy, people stared at the stars, not with wonder, with fear. Because Earth was no longer weak, no longer quiet, and no longer alone. It had taken its skies back, and now it was reaching for the stars. The Galactic Council's greatest weapon was not firepower, it was fear. Fear kept hundreds of alien species in line. Fear of punishment. Fear of war. Fear of losing everything. But now, that fear had turned around, and its name was Earth. The message was simple, it wasn't a threat, it wasn't even a demand, it was just a video. Played in every system across the galaxy at the same time. The screen went black. Then words appeared. We do not want peace. We do not want surrender. We want you to remember what you did. And we want you to feel it too. Then the screen showed what happened to Earth. Cities burning. Children coughing in ash. Skies raining fire. Then silence. Then one final line. This is what you gave us. Now it's your turn. Across the galaxy, panic spread like wildfire. Alien worlds began shutting down. Spaceports. People tried to flee. Families packed up and ran to deeper colonies. Some begged their leaders to make peace with Earth, but it was too late. Inside the Council's main tower on Ravelon Prime, the leaders of 22 major species met in secret. Humans are attacking our shipyards. They're striking from the dark, no warnings. They've destroyed 4 major fleets already. Someone banged the table. This is madness. They're one planet. But no one believed that anymore. In truth, Earth wasn't alone. It had allies, now small species the Council had ignored, bullied, or enslaved. Species like the Talari, the Oven, and the Rithari. They remembered what the humans did. When they were in pain, humans had shared food, medicine, even technology. And now that Earth was fighting back, these small races whispered, maybe we should help them. Mira Dane didn't ask for their help, but she didn't turn it away either. From her underground command room, she saw their messages. We send 3 cruisers. We owe you 100 fighters ready. Tell us when. You gave us water once. We give you ships. Now Mira didn't smile, but her voice grew sharper. Then it begins. The Ghostfire fleet was no longer alone. Now, fighters from 10 different species joined Earth's invisible war. And together, they launched Operation Fracture. The goal: break the unity of the Galactic Council. Their first target wasn't military. It was a communication satellite called Galnet Spine Alpha. It carried all Council orders across the stars. Without it, orders would stop, panic would rise. And war would turn to chaos. A single Ghostfire ship approached the satellite. It didn't fire lasers. It sent a virus coded by humans. Delivered by allies. The virus was quiet. It didn't destroy. It simply rewrote. Every Council command that went out after that was scrambled. Orders turned into nonsense. Defend Zarnok Prime became deliver fruit to Sector 12. Retreat now became engage and do not stop. Ships started attacking their own allies. Confusion broke fleets apart. And the Council, for the first time in history, looked weak. Inside the Council Tower, screams filled the air. Who's doing this? They've turned our own fleets against us. We can't trust our own systems. One senator finally shouted what everyone was thinking. We are not at war with the species. We are at war with a shadow. Mira Dane watched from her screen. The virus was working, but that wasn't enough. She had to make them feel it, the pain, the loss, the fear Earth had felt for years. She prepared one final message. This one wasn't a video. It was a list. The list had names. Thousands of names. Children. Parents. Soldiers. Doctors. Every human who died in the first attack. And at the top of the list, Elian Dane, age 12. Her daughter. The message read, We remember every name, and for each one, a star will fall. The message spread faster than anything before. Even alien children read it. People started asking, did Earth lie to us? Were they the victims? Suddenly, old stories came back. Stories of how the Council tricked weaker worlds, of how humans were rising too fast and needed to be stopped. And some worlds whispered what no one dared say out loud. Maybe Earth was right. The Council began to crack. Some species left meetings early. Others started removing their fleets. They didn't say it, but they didn't want to be next. One Council Admiral Xer Vel sent a secret message to Myra. It read, I know we were wrong. I cannot stop the Council, but I can leave the door open. If you come to Ravelon, you will not be alone. Mira didn't trust him, but she didn't need to. She had already planned the next step. At the edge of Ravelon space, Earth's allied fleet gathered, still hidden, still silent, but now stronger. Ships from a dozen species. Dark weapons, and one black flagship at the center. The echo of Earth. Inside it, Mira stood with her hand on the command screen. All systems ready, her officer said. Myra nodded. Then we begin. Above Ravelon Prime, the sky changed. Alien citizens looked up. Instead of stars, they saw shadows, then lights, thousands of them coming closer. Then silence. The Ghostfire fleet didn't attack. They just hovered. Watching. Waiting. The Council screamed orders to defend the city, but half their weapons failed. The virus was still active, and the other half didn't fire. Why? Because some of those ships had human friends aboard now. Mira sent one final transmission to the whole Council. Her voice echoed across every screen. You brought war to our skies. Now we bring justice to yours. We will not destroy you. We will make you look at yourselves. We will make you see what you became, and then you will fall, not by our fire, by your own fear. At that moment, several Council ships turned their weapons inward. Civil wars began on 5 worlds. Leaders were thrown out of power. Soldiers refused to fight. One by one, the Council fell apart, not by force. Not by bombs, but by a message, a simple truth, a mirror. Mira sat back in her chair. The war wasn't over. But Earth had done something no one expected. It had shattered the Council without firing a single shot that day. Just a message, just the truth. And now, the galaxy was listening. The galaxy thought the worst had passed. The Council was breaking, fleets were failing. But deep in a dark nebula called Veritas Reach, the true danger waited. They were called the Obsidian Corps. An elite strike force. The Council's last hope. Not soldiers. Not politicians. Killers. They had no flags. No names. No mercy. Just one order. Find Earth's leader. Kill her. End the resistance. They didn't care about the Council. They didn't care about peace. They were made for one thing: destruction. Their ships were black triangles, sharp as blades. They traveled in silence, invisible to sensors. Inside each ship were beings grown in labs, part metal, part flesh. No soul. The leader of the Corps was known only as Unit 9. A voice like crushed stone, eyes like cold fire. He studied Earth's attacks carefully. She commands with emotion, Unit 9 said. We erase emotion. We erase her. Back on Earth, Mara Dane knew something was coming. She could feel it. The silence in space was too loud. Ghostfire detected no fleets, but that was the problem. Someone's coming, Mira said. How do you know? Asked her officer. Because we broke the Council, but we didn't hear them scream. That means they still believe in something. And they did. They believed in the Corps. Unit 9's fleet entered the Sol system without a sound. Ghostfire drones failed to detect them. They moved through Jupiter's shadow. Then behind Mars, then straight toward Earth. But Mira had made a mistake. Once. She would not make it again. She was not on Earth. She was waiting. On Titan, Saturn's moon. Not in hiding. In ambush. On the frozen plains of Titan, she stood in an open dome, surrounded by nothing but ice and sky. She wore no armor. No gun. Just a coat. She waited. Unit 9's ship landed. Silently, he stepped out alone. Tall, inhuman shape with black limbs and glowing veins. "Where is your army?" he asked. Mira didn't blink. "You're looking at it." He scanned the area. No soldiers, no weapons, just you. She nodded. "I knew they'd send someone strong, someone fast, someone made to kill. That's why I came alone." Unit 9's hand turned into a blade. "You think you can stop me?" "No," Mira said. "I think I already have." The ice beneath him exploded. Hidden under Titan's surface were pulse mines. Old Earth tech mixed with alien code. They didn't blow him up. They shut him down. Every system in his body screamed as electricity tore through him, but he didn't fall. He roared and leapt toward her. She stepped back calmly. Then spoke one word. "Now." From the sky, black ships rained down. Not ghost fire. Something newer. Stronger. Humans made them in silence. Far from Earth, just in case. And now, they had come home. The obsidian core was no longer the hunters. They were the hunted. Fires lit the ice. Unit 9 fought like a demon. 10 Earth. Soldiers died in seconds. But he kept looking for her. Mira was gone. She had moved through a tunnel, into the mountains. He chased. She led him through caverns full of light traps, sonic walls, and freezing smoke. He took damage with every step. Still, he came. She knew she couldn't kill him with weapons. So she used something stronger. Call on memory. In the heart of the mountain was a room, full of light walls. Each wall showed images of Earth's fall, children crying, fathers crushed under rubble, skies red with fire. He stopped, watched. "What is this?" he asked. Myra's voice echoed through the room. "This is what you fight for. These are the people your council burned. My people." He growled, "I do not feel guilt. You will." She hit the trigger. Nanodust filled the air. Not to hurt him. To show him things. Humans had developed tech that could simulate memory inside. Synthetic minds. Unit 9 started shaking. He saw children grabbing their parents. Felt what fear felt like. Smelled smoke. He fell to one knee. "No," he growled. "I was made to kill." "You were made," Mira said. "I was born." "You follow orders. I follow pain. That's the difference." His body surged with energy. He roared and charged through the walls. She ran. He caught her coat, ripped it. She slid under a collapsing bridge. He jumped after her. And landed in a trap chamber. The walls closed. The heat rose. His systems began to fail. She looked at him through a glass window. "I don't need to win. I just need to show the galaxy what you are." He pounded the wall. "This isn't war. This is trickery." "No," she said. "This is humanity." He exploded outward, bursting through the chamber. She turned to flee, but he caught her, lifted her by the neck. She gasped for air. He raised his blade, but stopped. Her eyes didn't hold fear, just sorrow. "You're not a weapon," she whispered. "You're just a tool. And I feel sorry for you." He froze. His blade shook. Then something happened inside him. A piece of Earth's memory code finally cracked his system, and he saw Elian. Her little face, her burned shoes. Her empty school. He dropped Myra. Fell back, crawled into the shadows. He did not scream. He did not beg. He just stopped. Later, Earth soldiers found his body curled in the cold. Not dead. Not broken. Just still. The weapon who saw too much. Back at Earth's command center, the news spread. The obsidian core was destroyed, its leader taken. And Mira? She walked away with just a scratch. The galaxy would soon know. They sent their strongest, but Earth's will was stronger. The Galactic Council thought they had stopped the storm. They captured Earth's signal satellites, shut down human communications, blocked every message, every image, every sound. They thought Earth was silent again. They were wrong, because Earth didn't use signals anymore. Earth used fire. It started small. One rebel base on planet Zoranthia lit a flare into the sky. Not a code, just a symbol, a burning circle with 3 lines through it. The humans called it the brand. It meant only one thing: we are still here. The flare was seen by miners, by slaves, by hidden allies, and by broken soldiers tired of war. Soon, the brand began to appear in more places, burned into walls, carved into floors, painted onto warships. No one said a word, but the message was clear. The resistance lived. Myra Dane knew signals would fail. That's why she sent something different. People. Before the blockade, she trained small human teams, ghost couriers. Each one carried stories, memories, and tech locked in neural drives. They were called the Spark Runners. They didn't use radios. They moved in silence. Planet to planet, star to star, carrying the brand and lighting fires wherever they went. One Spark Runner named Jonas Vale landed on a prison world called Carax-4. He walked in as a traitor. He walked out with 5 prison guards dead and 4,000 alien slaves holding weapons. He gave them old Earth rifles. Then carved the brand into the prison gates. On the world of Nyala, runner Tima Gray hacked into a school system. She played Earth's memory files for the alien children. At first, they laughed. Then they cried. One child, a small Valari boy, drew the brand on his school desk. His teacher erased it. He drew it again. The teacher joined him. No signal. No order. Just truth spreading through stars like wildfire. Inside the council, panic began to grow. How are they communicating? We blocked every channel. They aren't using channels, one commander said. They're using hearts. The council didn't understand it, because they had ruled by control. They forgot how dangerous hope could be. They launched a new plan. Operation Silence. Elite units began hunting Spark Runners. They caught 3, but for everyone they stopped, 2 more rose. They weren't just humans now. Aliens were running too. Even council soldiers started turning. One officer, a Tarscan named Kirith, removed his badge and joined the rebels on Del and -5. He said nothing. He just picked up a human rifle and carved the brand on his old ship. The symbol now meant something new. We fight for Earth. We fight for truth. We fight for the future. In the shadows of deep space, Mira Dane watched the map of the galaxy shift. It wasn't red anymore. It was glowing orange. Not war zones. Fires. Sparks. Millions of them. One of her officers said, "Should we try to re-establish communications?" She shook her head. They've already spoken. Meanwhile, the council built a secret fortress, Ecliptor Station. It floated in a dead zone between stars. It could block all signals, hide entire fleets, and crush any ship that entered. But one ship didn't get crushed. It entered without being seen. It had no engine noise. No heat signature. Just one small pod with a Spark Runner inside. Her name was Sira. VONN. Sira didn't bring weapons. She brought something far more dangerous. A story. A single memory drive. She sneaked into the fortress's entertainment system. Then vanished. Later that night, the council leaders gathered. Tired. Angry. Paranoid. They turned on their screens to rest, and the drive activated. The lights flickered. The walls went black. Then a single video played. It showed Earth. Before the fire, before the war, children dancing. Families eating. Laughing. Loving. And then the fire began. Bombs. Screams. Ash. Silence. Then Myra's voice. You tried to erase us, but you cannot stop what was born from pain. You cannot stop what carries memory instead of metal. We are not soldiers. We are fire. Some council leaders cried. Some screamed. Others ran from the room. But one thing was clear. The fire had reached Then back on Earth, Mira Dane stood at a cliff. Below her, refugees were building something. Not weapons, not bombs, but schools, hospitals, homes. We don't just want to win, she said. We want to live. She knew the war wasn't over, but something bigger had begun. Revolution of belief. The council blocked every signal, but they couldn't stop what Earth had sparked, and now the stars were burning with it. The sky over Earth turned black, not from night, but from ash. Ash from ships. Ash from cities. Ash from bodies. The Galactic Council had sent its final order. If Earth will not bow, then burn it down. 1,000 ships appeared in orbit, larger than anything before. They didn't ask for surrender. They didn't wait. They started the fire. Cities melted. Forests turned to smoke. Oceans boiled. The planet cried out, but it did not break, because by then, Earth had changed. Its people were not just soldiers. They were survivors. They did not run. They stood in the heart of the storm. Mira Dane stood at the ruins of an old launch site. The ground shook. The air smelled like iron. Behind her were thousands of refugees. Old people. Children. Aliens who had chosen Earth. They had nowhere to go. Mira looked up at the fire in the sky and said, "We stay. And if we burn, they'll learn what Earthfire really means." But Mira had one more plan. She didn't need to win the space war. She needed to flip it. In an underground lab beneath the ruins, Earth's last secret weapon was almost ready. Not a bomb, not a gun, a ship. Only one, but different from all others. Its name was Nova Echo. It had no shields, no cannons, just one special core. The memory engine. Built using tech stolen from alien minds and mixed with old Earth eyes. The ship had one mission: to carry the truth of Earth across every star it touched. Not just signals, feelings, sorrow, love, fire. It would light up hearts from orbit. And change minds without speaking a word. But it needed time to launch. Time they didn't have. Above, the Council's fleet started raining starfire. The air cracked. Everything glowed orange. Mira knew what had to be done. She took a small team of spark runners and left the base. Their goal? Climb the ridge of glass. A mountain formed from melted earth steel after the first strikes. From the top, they would use old communication dishes to boost Nova Echo's jump. It was suicide. The climb was slow. The ground was sharp. Enemy drones searched everywhere. Mira led them, one step at a time. Jonas Vale, bleeding from his leg, asked, "Why are we doing this?" She didn't stop walking. Because the fire doesn't mean we're dead. It means we're still burning. Halfway up, a drone found them. They hid in a wrecked tunnel. Tiang McGray held her breath as the light passed over her face. It paused. Then moved on. Jonas whispered, "Even machines don't want to kill anymore." Mira said nothing, but her eyes lit with a dangerous thought. They reached the peak just as the main cannon of the flagship aimed at Nova Echo's bay. If it fired, the ship and the last chance would be gone. Mira turned to her team. "Cover me." She moved to the old dish and linked her neural drive. Pain shot through her head. Memories of war. Loss. The death of her brother. The look on her mother's face. But she kept going. The dish lit up. Power pulsed through the ground. Nova Echo blinked once, then began to move. The Council saw it. And fired. A red beam cut through the sky like a blade. Everyone on the ground screamed. But Nova Echo was already rising. Too fast, too strange. The beam missed. And then Nova Echo activated. The stars dimmed. The ships paused. Inside every Council vessel, lights flickered. Then changed. The pilots screamed. Not in pain, but in confusion. They saw flashes of Earth's memories. A child's laughter. A woman holding her son. Fire tearing through a school. A hand reaching for help. A scream that never ended. Alien commanders dropped their weapons. One shouted, "What is this?" No one answered, because their hearts already knew. the Council's brand. Fleet did not fall from attack. It fell from inside. Soldiers began to cry. Pilots refused to fire. Some ships turned. Some simply shut down. Others joined Earth's orbit. In silence. Mira fell to her knees on the ridge. The sky was no longer burning. It was blue again. Down below, people looked up. They didn't cheer. They didn't speak. They just watched as Nova Echo flew higher and higher, until it vanished into the stars. Carrying their pain. Their truth. Their fire. Hours later, Mira returned to the underground base. She was quiet. Not tired. Just changed. An officer asked, "Did we win?" She answered simply, "No, but they stopped trying to destroy us." That's more than a win. In the council chambers, chaos took over. Some wanted to keep fighting. Others resigned. Some just sat, hands shaking. One elder finally whispered, "They burned and still stood. What are they made of?" No one answered. Because deep down, they knew Earth was made of fire, but not wildfire, living fire. The council skies burned Earth, but Earth walked through the fire and came out stronger. The council sent a message across the stars. We accept peace. No more fire, no more war. It was too late. Earth had seen what the galaxy really was. They had begged for mercy. Now they offered peace. But peace without justice? Peace without truth? Mira Dane didn't smile. She stared at the message and said, "They want peace now. Because they're afraid." She wasn't wrong. After Nova Echo flew through the skies, everything changed. The galaxy felt Earth's pain. Millions dropped their weapons. Whole planets turned against the Council. But Earth remembered what happened before. When they trusted too early. When they forgave too fast. When their kindness was used against them. So Mira sent one message back. 4 words. We accept your surrender. The Council was furious. Surrender? They had offered peace, not defeat. But the truth was clear. They had already lost, not just in battle, but in loyalty. Their own people no longer obeyed them. And Earth now had something even more powerful: believers across the galaxy. Old allies of the Council began switching sides. Planets once silent now lit up with the brand. Even inside the Council's military, officers started refusing orders. One commander said, "We won't fight ghosts. Earth doesn't just use weapons. It changes us." The Council grew desperate. They tried sending diplomats. Gifts. Treaties. Myra listened quietly. Then asked a single question. Where are our stolen children? The room went silent. Long ago, during the first attacks, the Council had kidnapped thousands of Earth's young. They had called it re-education. No one ever returned. Myra had never forgotten, and neither had the other survivors. Now, Earth wanted answers, and Earth would not stop until every child came home. So Mira gave the order. Find them. The mission was named Operation Echo Child. Teams of spark runners, rebels, and even alien defectors moved together. They searched labs. Mining worlds, research bases, one by one. The lost were found. On the ice world Vorthan, they found a girl named Lena. She was 10 when taken. Now she was 17. She wore alien tech, spoke 2 Council languages. But when she saw the Earth flag on a spark runner's sleeve, she whispered, "Are you real?" He nodded. She cried, and then burned the Council's teaching book. Herself. The missions grew darker. Some facilities were empty. Others were full of broken minds. Some children had become weapons. They had been trained to kill humans, not to hate Earth. One boy aimed a plasma gun at Mira. She stepped forward slowly. No armor. No shield. Just her voice. They told you lies. We are not monsters. We are your people. The boy shook. Then dropped the gun and fell into her arms. Earth didn't destroy these labs. They turned them into sanctuaries, places of healing. Of learning, of truth. But one facility remained, the Red Vault, a secret lab hidden beneath a dead star. No one could reach it until they did. A rogue pilot named Kirith Once a council general, led the mission. He had defected after seeing Earth's fire. He flew a stolen ship deep into enemy territory with one message: I know where they're hiding the last ones. The team that followed him included humans and aliens. They called themselves the silent kind. They didn't speak much. They didn't smile. They just walked into danger. And came out with life. Inside the red vault, they found something shocking. Not just human children, but human clones. The council had tried to copy Earth's spirit. To create perfect soldiers. It failed. But the failed clones were still alive, silent, lost, afraid. When the team approached them, one clone asked, "Are we real?" A soldier placed a hand on his shoulder. "You are now." Mira stared at the reports. Clones. Experiments. Human children turned into weapons. So this was the price of peace. She made her choice. They don't just surrender. They stand trial. Earth began collecting evidence, witness reports, stolen data, video, files from labs and prisons. The truth poured across the stars, and the galaxy could no longer look away. On neutral ground, Mira stood before the council leaders. The court was silent. One council elder spoke. "We made mistakes. We want to make peace now." Mira answered calmly. "Then admit what you did. Return our stolen and disband your war fleets." They hesitated. She raised her voice. "Because if you don't, Earth walks again." They signed the papers. All of them, every last one. The war was officially over. But Earth didn't party. They didn't shout. They simply worked. They rebuilt cities, healed the wounded, reconnected with lost brothers and sisters. Nova Echo returned home. It landed quietly on a hill of ash and flowers. Inside it were more memories. More truths, and a silent promise: never again. Mira Dane stood before the people. Some cheered, some cried, but she raised one hand and said, "We didn't fight for revenge. We fought for our future, and now we must build it." The stars were still cold, the galaxy still cruel, but something had changed. Light now moved through space, a fire that could not be put out, because it wasn't just Earth anymore. It was everyone Earth had touched. The council ordered peace, but Earth wasn't finished. Not until every voice was heard, every wound was healed. Every life, real or clone, was honored. Only then would Earth truly rest. They said the war was over. The council had fallen. The fleets were silent. The stars were still. And yet, Earth did not sleep. The scars were deep. Oceans still boiled in places. Skies still cracked with storm fire. And cities were still black with ash. But something stronger had returned. Call on hope. Mira Dane walked through the ruins of Sol Rise's city once. Turned to glass. Now, green vines wrapped old buildings. Children played among broken machines. Some of them were born on Earth. Others were born in labs. But here, no one cared where they came from, only where they were going. The council had collapsed. Its members had been tried. Some were imprisoned. Others vanished. Few those who had helped Earth secretly were forgiven. It didn't matter anymore. Because Earth wasn't waiting for permission. They were building something new. It started as a whisper, a simple idea. We don't need a council. We need a circle. The circle was not a government. Not a military. It was a promise made between worlds. Not just human. Not just alien. But anyone who had bled, burned, or believed. Each world sent one voice. Not to lead, but to listen. And Earth? Earth didn't send a politician. They sent a child, one of the rescued. A girl who once forgot her own name. Now she called herself Hope. Hope stood before the circle on the first day. She wore no armor. No crown. Just a simple necklace of stone. She looked at the stars on the ceiling and said, "They tried to erase us. But we remembered, and now we remember for all." The circle began its work. It didn't build warships. It built bridges. It turned old battlecruisers into healing ships, weapons, into water systems. Spy satellites into light farms. Some still doubted. Some whispered, Earth will want power. Earth will control everything. But Earth never asked to lead. They just kept working, and that made others follow. Nova Echo, the ship that had changed the war, now flew without weapons. It traveled from world to world, carrying memories, stories, old pain, and new hope. They called it the fire ship of peace. Even on faraway planets that once hated Earth, children now asked, when will the Echo visit us? In time, something stranger happened. The galaxy began to dream again, not of conquest, but of creation. Poets and builders came forward. Scientists, who once built weapons, now made gardens on moons. Pilots carved messages of peace into asteroid fields. And artists painted Earth's story on walls of space stations. But not everything was perfect. Some wounds stayed open. Some planets still feared. And a few small empires still clung to the old ways. Mira knew this. She didn't trust peace blindly. She watched. She prepared. But she also smiled more. One day, Mira stood at the rebuilt launch site on Earth. She watched as a young crew entered a new kind of ship. Not a warship. SEEDS. IP. It carried no missiles. Only soil. Water. Knowledge that would travel beyond known space, planting life where none existed. Jonas Vale stood beside her. Now older, a scar on his face. He asked, do you think they'll be safe out there? She replied, we didn't fight to hide. We fought to walk forward. A soft wind moved through the field. The ship rose, golden in the sunlight. People cheered, others cried, and somewhere, far beyond stars, the last echoes of war faded into silence. Later that night, Mira wrote in her journal. They said it was the end, but Earth never ends. We begin, again and again. That is who we are. Fire, memory, future. In the old ruins of the Council's Great Hall, now turned into a museum, there's a stone tablet. It says, Earth did not conquer. Earth did not bow. Earth remembered and rose. Visitors come from across the stars. They touch that stone, some cry, some laugh, all leave changed. Because now, Earth's story is not just Earth's. It belongs to the galaxy that once feared Earth, now walks beside it, and the fire that almost ended everything, it became the light that showed the way, the end.